There's one primary reason why most people never achieve their dream bodies despite putting in a ton of time and effort. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what it is and how to avoid it. So with my group coaching clients, there's a theme that pops up every single week on our group calls. And I'll preface by saying that you would think the issue stopping people from really getting their dream bodies would be a lack of effort, right? A lack of application. Most people are lazy. Most people don't want to work out. Most people don't want to eat healthy. Most people don't want to do what it takes to build a great physique, right? Well, that's actually not what I've seen with my group coaching clients. The big issue that I see with them is that they can't stick with the fucking system. They're constantly seeking new and shiny things. And a lot of them are probably watching this video thinking like, fuck, Rio's calling my ass out right now. But the truth is, I get asked so often, like on these calls, they come, they're like, you know, like, Rio, is high reps better or low reps better? Like, how about this workout split? These exercises versus those exercises. Like, you can tell this frustrates the shit out of me, guys, because I get this every single fucking week. And the truth is, all of it can work. High reps can work. Low reps can work. Those exercises can work, and these exercises can work. But guess what? None of them will fucking work unless you do. None of them will work unless you actually stick with it. And that is the big problem that I see with so many fucking people. You can give them the system, you can give them the plan, but it's like, ooh, what about that scientific study over there? Ooh, what about this chest press versus that chest press? Any of it can work, but none of it is going to work unless you actually stick with it long enough to get results and to see progress. You have to see it through. The honest truth is, guys, you're going to get bored of the system way before you build the body that you want. Getting results in fitness is very sexy, right? It's very sexy to build the body that you want, but I'll tell you what, the process is not sexy at all. It's a whole lot of doing the same shit every single week. There's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing exciting about it. It's a lot of boring work. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's so repetitive. But if you want to build a great body, you have to fall in love with the boring work. You have to fall in love with hitting your calories and your protein every single day. You have to fall in love with going for your walks. You have to fall in love with going to the gym and hitting the same exercises every week and training really hard with maximum focus and maximum intensity and just striving to add a rep or add a little bit of weight and just chip away at the process for a long time. You have to fall in love with that process. It is not about trying to find the perfect routine. It does not exist. The perfect routine is the one that you're going to stick to. And so the guy who follows a suboptimal routine but actually sticks with it and stays consistent and is patient with it will get way better results than the guy who's trying to constantly seek the perfect workout routine but fucking jumps from thing to thing. Building a great physique is all about progression, and you cannot make progress if you switch things every week. You literally have no basis from which to judge progress. You have no concrete reference points. If building a great physique is all about progression, then how can you do one set of exercises one week and then switch it up 2 weeks later? Like there's no way of accurately judging your progress. You need constant variables. You need constant variables, and that's why I recommend sticking with the same routine, sticking with the same set of exercises for a very long time. Do that boring work, because you have to be able to stick with it long enough to actually see progress and to be able to judge progress. Hey, real quick, if you're a busy man in your 30s or 40s struggling to find time for fitness, I created a free minimalist muscle building masterclass for you. This is my exact training system that will allow you to build your dream body training just twice per week. You can pick it up by clicking the link in my description. So if you jump from thing to thing, you're going to be making an inch of progress in so many directions. Whereas if you stick to one thing, to one message, to one approach, to one workout program, to, one set of exercises, and you just stick with it for a long time, you're going to make a ton of progress in the one direction that matters most, right? If you're making an inch of progress in all different directions, following different fitness philosophies and different messages, if you take that same time and that same effort that you're putting into trying all of that different shit and you apply that to one thing, you're going to make significantly more progress with that same time, with that same effort. And this is why so many people are in a position where they're like, oh, I've tried that, this doesn't work. That doesn't work. It just doesn't work for me, Rio. It's like, man, it all worked. It could all work. You just didn't fucking work, because people are fucking impatient. People have no patience. People cannot stick with shit. People are weak. Everyone can conceptually understand the importance of focus in life, right? And most people understand that when you pick a career path or when you start a business, you're gonna stick with it, right? You're not gonna switch it the next month. But when it comes to fitness, people somehow throw that out the window and think that it doesn't apply. The same thing applies, guys. You need to lock in on one message. You need to lock in on one approach and you need to stick with it and you need to see it through. If you jump from thing to thing, you're gonna make an inch of progress in all directions. And then before you know it, 5 years have passed and you still don't have the physique that you want. Whereas if you took that same time, you took that same effort, you applied it to one thing, you'd be so much further along. And this is what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing that most people don't want to put in effort. Most people don't want to put in the time. It's that most people are constantly trying to find the new and shiny thing instead of picking one thing and fucking sticking with it. Literally the first module in my group coaching system. So basically in the group coaching system, we have like the 3 C's, right? We have the calendar, which is where we do the weekly calls. We have the community, which is where you ask questions, you engage. And then we have the classroom. And the classroom is where the system is. That's where the training routines are. That's where all of the course content is, right? And literally the first module that I put in that course is titled Lock In. And then I go on to say, hey, you're now in this program. You now have access to all the information you will ever need to build the body that you want. You do not need more information. What you need is implementation. And so what I've seen is that the clients of mine who get the best results are the ones who, when they join my system, they're like, okay, blinders on. I'm not gonna go and consume more fitness content. I'm not gonna go and fucking read scientific studies. I join this, I'm gonna lock in and I'm gonna focus and I'm gonna do it consistently. I'm gonna be patient. And those are the guys who get the best results. Contrarily, I have some guys who join my community, they start the fucking program and like, oh, Rio, but what about that? What about this? It's like, bro, it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, man. Fucking stick with it. This frustrates the living shit out of me, guys, because ultimately, it just comes down more than half of getting fitness results. 80% of getting fitness results is literally just sticking with it. It's not about the perfect fucking routine. It's not about it's literally just about sticking with it. You know, people think I have some secret sauce that I'm holding back that I don't give away in these videos or that I don't give away in my course, in my material, right? They think I'm holding something back. Rio has these secrets he's not telling us. That's why he has these results and I don't. The truth is, the difference between me and you is that I have just stuck with it. I've been doing this for 7 years, every single week in and week out. I'm just consistent with it. I've just done it a long time and I have not been trying to seek, I don't have shiny object syndrome. I'm just doing the same thing week in and week out. And that is ultimately how you get results. And yes, it's not sexy, it's not exciting, but that is ultimately how you're gonna build the physique that you want. Literally, one of the best things that you can do, and this is something that I've applied in my own life to other areas of my life, is to lock in on one message. Literally just consume the message of one person. I'm not even saying it has to be me. By all means, if you don't want to follow the system, then don't follow. But what I'm telling you is you need to pick one message and then you need to put the blinders on. You need to stick with it, guys. Because where people completely fuck themselves is by consuming so many different conflicting messages. And they get confused up the arsehole. And then as a result of being confused, they get paralyzed and then they can't take action. Or maybe they do take action, but they constantly jump from thing to thing. And so I'm guilty of this as well. I did this when it came to business and entrepreneurship. I would consume the message of so many different business gurus, right? I would listen to 5 different people. And then I realized yeah, I'm consuming a lot of information, but I'm actually more confused than I was when I started because this person is saying this other person is saying that, this other person is saying something completely different. Which one's true? You don't know, right? Before you get the result, before you've had the experience, you don't know what to listen to. You don't know if this is right, if that's right. The truth is, what I realize is that if I follow any single one of these people, they can all work, but none of them are going to work. I'm going to make no progress if I'm trying to listen to all of them. And I'm trying to, I'm jumping from message to message. So what I decided to do was, okay, I'm gonna follow this one person. I'm gonna consume this message. I'm gonna get reminded of it on a weekly basis. I'm gonna literally just focus on it so that it becomes a part of me. so that it literally just becomes what I do on autopilot. And recently, I was thinking back to the beginning of my fitness journey because I'm always trying to think like, how can I get my clients better results? How can I get them better results? And what did I do? Like, I thought back to the beginning of my fitness journey. I was thinking like, what was the one thing that, if I had to sum it up, was the real key to me building the physique that I wanted? What I realized that the answer was to that question was that I picked one thing and I stuck with it. And you know what happens when you pick one thing and you stick with it? It becomes a part of you. It becomes something you do on autopilot. It becomes your lifestyle. And so like I teach you all of these different principles and all these different things, but what I'm really teaching you in essence is my life. Like, this is what I live by. Like, I live by this shit. And that's what you have to do as well if you want to get great results, because then the inputs are taken care of, right? I don't think about hitting my calories and protein each day. I don't think about going and getting my steps. I don't think about going and hitting my workouts. I do it on autopilot. But I've gotten to this point because I've done it for such a long period of time that it has become ingrained in me. It's become just what I do. And that's where you need to get to as well. It needs to become your lifestyle. It needs to become something that's so ingrained in you. And that's why I tell my clients, once you join my system, once you join this group, block everything else out. We don't need more information. We need implementation. We need to take this system and we need to literally brainwash you with it until it's like you wake up and you just do all these different actions on autopilot without even thinking about it. And that's when you truly get great results. And so I'll leave you with this final quote from Neil Strauss that I absolutely adore. And he says, "Success comes down to doing the obvious thing for an uncommonly long period of time without convincing yourself that you're smarter than you are."